New at 10 Tuesday, the U.S. Supreme Court will hear arguments in a high-stakes case out of Alabama. The central question, do Alabama's newly redrawn congressional maps violate the Voting Rights Act? Tonight, we take a look at the potential impact and 4 other cases to watch this term. At 10 a.m. sharp, the justices will return to the courtroom. Their first case of the day, alleged racial gerrymandering in Alabama. Gerrymandering is the drawing of voting maps that groups racial minorities into one district, ultimately weakening their electoral power. In January, Alabama Republicans asked the justices to block a ruling creating a second district with a majority black population. The justices will now decide if the mismatch between Alabama's black population and its disproportionate representation in Congress violates the law. That would mean state lawmakers will have to redraw Alabama's congressional maps to create the second minority district. The justices are also slated to hear another case dealing with voting maps, this one in North Carolina, where state Republicans say a clause in the Constitution allows state legislatures near total control over how federal elections are carried out in their state. If the Supreme Court sides with the Republican lawmakers, it could effectively remove a key judicial check on state lawmakers' power. No date for arguments has been set yet. Earlier today, the justices heard arguments on a case involving a major environmental dispute under the Clean Water Act. The question at hand, does the Environmental Protection Agency's reach extend to wetlands not connected to federal waters? If the justices decide against the government's authority, it could pave the way for greater land development and loosen requirements on businesses that discharge pollutants. Next are 2 challenges to the use of affirmative action in college admissions decisions. Both lawsuits against Harvard and the University of North Carolina ask the justices to overrule a long-standing precedent permitting schools to consider race when accepting a new class. The cases will be argued before the court on October 31st. The last high-stakes ruling involves a First Amendment dispute out of Colorado. It stems from a 2012 incident where a website designer refused to make her services available for same-sex weddings. A non-discrimination law in the state makes that illegal. The case will test whether this law infringes on free speech protections of businesses. Arguments for this case have not yet been scheduled. And for the first time in 2 years, members of the public are allowed back in the courtroom. During the pandemic, the justices offered a live feed of oral arguments that allowed the public to follow alone in real time.